Hello and welcome to the UKGameshows.com Bothers Bar poll of 2016. People have been flocking around the country to the polling booths to vote on the best and worst game shows of the past 12 months. And we are here to give you the live reveal of what you have been saying. My name is David Bodicum, and with me I have two people to chew over the results. We have Daniel Peak. Hello,
Good
Daniel.
evening. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And we have the man who knows all, Nick Gates.
Absolutely. Hello. On these spreadsheets of fate, are the winners decided?
So nobody knows the results apart from Nick. So just for a bit of fun, Dan, do you have any predictions as to what might happen this year?
I don't really. There were this year, so I did vote. I will say this: I did vote, and I found it very difficult to get my Hall of Shame shows down to just 5. There were lots of shows that I thought could have clinched it, so I'm not going to even speculate on the Hall of Shame. Hall of Fame. Ooh, I think it'll be a BBC show that wins.
I have something in my water. Well, it's some ice cubes actually, but apart from that, I have just a feeling that maybe there might be a bit of a shake-up in the Golden Five this year. I don't know whether repeat strategies might have caused people's or maybe longer runs of certain series might have caused people's interest to wane. I will sort of maybe say a bit more about that later on. So let's get into it then. So this has been one of the most fiercely fought battles for game show supremacy for quite a while. And noticeably, there's been lots of political campaigning. Even we've had the first political broadcast, and even a rather aggressive billboard campaign. But it's all come down to this: the final results. Now, while we're yakking on, if you want to be doing something with your fingers, then why not do our viewer poll? So if you go to this URL, http tinyurl.com/bbpoll 2016 part 1, then there'll be a few fun little questions to give your opinion about game shows and the state of the game show world, and we will be revealing what you think a bit later on in the show. You can also join in by joining in on Twitter at the hashtag #BBPoll, and we'll be keeping an eye on what you're saying as the evening goes on. So we will just recap what we had as our Hall of Shame winners from last year, and I suppose apart from Decimate, which got recommissioned, you can probably say they were all pretty fair targets.
Well, Pick Me, of course, won a Rose Door, so
there was that. But then again, so did the Black and White Minstrel Show. So,
well, there you go.
There you go. Well, yeah, I suppose that's true.
But yeah.
Okay, so that's just a reminder of what we were up against last year. So we tend to sort of rush through the sort of 10 to 6 places, and then we'll sort of discuss the top 5 in a little bit more depth.
Yep.
So off we go to the spreadsheet of doom for Hall of Shame.
So for the Hall of Shame, the worst new show, running quite quickly from 10 to 6. In 10, Drive. 9.
I quite liked Drive, but yes, go on.
Bang on the Money.
Yeah.
In joint 7th, A Bad Youth Possessed, both Cash Trapped and Spotless. And added 6th, Sell or Swap, which was a bit of a mess, all told.
Right.
I didn't really have much of a problem with Drive. Bang on the Money was amazing because none of the games actually fit the premise it set itself, which is quite impressive.
I had a very unusual end game in which there was a delay on the button, wasn't there? You press the button, then a second later it would then activate. It was a bit strange.
I couldn't get my head around that at all watching it, which is not a really good sign, to be honest. Spotless it was one of those ideas where you sort of see it written down and you think, who thought that was a good idea? You sort of know your heart.
I'll stick up for Spotless here. I thought okay, whilst it was produced in I thought it felt quite a lot like student TV, the way it was produced. I thought it was quite good. I liked it, but I just had some issues with the production.
That's quite a large thing to have an issue with, though, in fairness.
That is true.
But that went out on ITV or ITV2?
It was ITV, primetime Saturday.
Yeah, it's probably
one-off.
maybe might have been better on ITV2. I don't know. I thought that it was quite a good idea actually, but there we go. All right, well that's what the people said. So let's go into our top 5.
Okay, so at number 5 is Think Tank.
So this is the is it 3? Oh, the third. Right, the third show we've ever had with Think Tank on it, and well, I wasn't one of my favourites. I found it quite cheesy. I think is the way. I think it was all a bit sort of preppy and pantomime for my liking. And
that's 12-yard though, isn't it? All their shows a bit preppy and pantomime, to be honest. Like I say, that's last year. They're the king of ordinary quizzes, and there's a market for that, and everything they fill that gap and fine. But I can't say under any circumstance I find interesting or exciting at all. So
I think there is a changes afoot that kind of show might become a bit rarer in under the new management. I'll just say that.
Interesting.
I didn't really get along with the actual Think Tankers, which I don't think helped. I just felt, and I also felt that they were sort of trying too hard or acting a little bit too hard. It was a little bit distracting. I didn't really like them, so it didn't help me watch the show.
Were they the same every episode or not?
No, it's like a per mate from 12 situation going on. So they're most of the time, not all the time.
Still not very varied though, was it?
Yeah. They're all quite posh. Even the working class ones are quite posh. I don't know if it's a BBC thing or what, but yeah. I didn't hate it. I thought it was innocuous in quite a boring way.
Beige.
Okay. Beige.
It's the ecru or taupe of quiz, right?
Think Tank, think beige. Right. Number 4. Can't touch this.
Ooh, okay.
The show all about touching prizes, except for all of it, apart from the end. And it was the same every week, and it had obstacle at no one. It wasn't. If it was possible, no one apparently managed to do it at all ever, which is not really a good sign.
Did anyone win the car at the end?
Oh, people won the car. Yes, people won the car.
Okay.
No one could do the pole vault though. Apparently, they couldn't even do it in practice. So you have to think that's quite badly designed. Apparently, even the on Wipeout, the stunt people could go across the big balls holding a cup of coffee. Apparently, that's how good they were at it. So that's how possible it was. But apparently, no one can do the pole vault, which was absolutely ridiculous.
I have to say, I was a bit bemused at this commission because it felt just like it's Wipeout but indoors, and that's sort of it, really. What's not
as funny as Wipeout. Didn't quite have a slapstick.
No, well, even if you're going to repackage it a slightly different way, it's sort of, I can't see how this was pushing the boundaries of game show other than it's being indoors, therefore we can film it in Northern Ireland or whatever it was. So yeah,
this is one of the shows where you do want it big and bright and colourful, and people who know me know that I don't like dark sets, and I think this was a classic case of having too dark a set. I think there should have been big, colourful things all over the place, and it was quite a muted set. It made it boring.
You have to feel it's the sort of idea that the Germans would have done a lot better than us, because they just seem to have a lot more money to spend on physical games for reasons that I've never quite understood. Maybe they've got bigger studios and cheaper prop makers or something. But
Skilled carpenters.
yeah, well, no, I think honestly that is the reason. I think they just have a bit more of a culture of making stuff that we've sort of a bit lost, and therefore we have to use very expensive designers and set people to make stuff like that. Whereas in Germany, you can just go down to any engineer and they'll knock up something like that for you for €25. So I do think that is a factor.
I'm just reading some of these comments that are coming. Do you want to save them until after the list, or
no, go ahead.
Okay, a lot of people saying they actually quite like Think Tank. Fair enough. It did get votes. It did get votes in the Hall of Fame as well, but I won't tell you where it came just yet. Alex, my main problem with Think Tank was how slanted the podiums were.
Really?
And Dale Cooper says Think Tank is sort of terribly middle class to me, and I think that's a reasonable comment. Right, at number 3. Don't forget #BB poll. We are reading. The Getaway Car. It's going to be popular. It's got the stick in it.
I never watched this because I couldn't even get over the premise of this.
My problem with this is it was quite well made. It was not an awful show by any means, but once you've seen it once, you've seen literally everything the show has to offer, pretty much. I don't quite understand. The thing about knockabout obstacle course type shows is that you've got to have a bit of variety to it every week. Otherwise, people obviously see it all before very quickly. This had exactly the same thing every week in exactly the same place, with a quiz element, because obviously, and I don't know. It's not as if it was a bad show, but it's badly conceived, I think. More than anything.
It was marketed worldwide as a come to South Africa and make this show with us, and nobody did, and it was because, well, partly the ratings, but also it was meant to be the show that tests relationships, and apart from someone just sitting in the passenger seat going left, or go on, which is basically all they could do. Apart from the bit with the blindfold in the first round, there was nothing really testing about the relationships whatsoever. It could have been done a lot better. I mean, certainly, is it Canada's Worst Driver or whatever it is? The Worst Driver format has many, many more entertaining setups that really do test people's relationships, because if you drive over the line, you don't brake in time, you're going to smash my pet violin or something. No, really, they did stuff like that. So you don't have to spend millions of pounds to make something entertaining. You can actually have quite cheap setups, but it's just the quality of the idea. It's a bit like, I suppose, Game for a Laugh, that kind of thing. They didn't really spend massive amounts of money on their gags. It's just that they were just done very, very well. And I think that they've sort of let the budget get away from them, and not actually the quality of the idea and where the entertainment's going to come from.
Just reading comments. Getaway Car was begging for a review titled Car Crash TV. I'm surprised it didn't happen. It must happen somewhere, surely. Korean Atado, I watched Can't Touch This once, thought it was great. I watched it a second time, I thought it was a rerun. Yes, I think that's part of the problem, really.
Yep.
Right, at number 2, 500 questions.
No! How is this not number 1?
You'll see.
Okay.
I wouldn't have put it as even my top 5, I don't think.
Oh, no, I gave this multiple votes, and I can give you many reasons why.
Got it.
I just thought this was a bad idea from start to finish, because I think it was when it aired in the US. I think bringing it over to the UK was just a bad idea from the start. No matter how many format tweaks or anything like that, the title alone sinks it, because you're never going to ask 500 questions. I thought the set was too dark as well, but that's just my thing. I didn't like Giles Curran as the host too much, and just the general premise of the show, in which you only have to get 1 in 3 questions right to survive, is you need to answer more than that to make a quiz entertaining.
I think it felt quite stodgy. I thought about the original as well. But Giles Coron, I thought I quite liked. I reckon. I jokingly said a while ago that if they bring back Weakest Link, they should get Judge Rin to do it. 'Cause that'd be brilliant. But also, I reckon Weakest Link with Giles Coron would be quite something to watch as well. Actually, I'd be happy. I'd watch that.
He did change his tune in episodes 2 and 3. This is true, but I never got to episodes 2 and 3 because of episode 1.
I think I ended up watching it all week, more out of obligation rather because I enjoyed it. I thought the questions were quite good. I thought the question writing was fine, and the categories are fine. The format was rubbish. It was paced all right. I don't hate it. Whereas I've no reason to watch it really.
It was a little bit quizzle sticky anyway.
It was in the first place, yeah.
And also the strategy of avoid the tricky traps or wherever they were on the ceiling. Well, if you've got to answer all 50 questions anyway, then you're going to have to hit them at some point.
Yeah, it's is it better than the American one?
It was better than the American one, but I was still really disappointed. I'm also disappointed that it's come at number 2.
I thought they did a decent fist of fixing the problem with the format. I think it do have problems with the format. So, and the questions were okay. So I thought they did what they could with it, given the situation. So yeah, I'm a bit surprised it's quite that high up.
I liked the way they sidestepped or 500 question things, but just not bothering with it at all. But still calling it 500 questions anyway, because that's what it is. Great stuff. Daniel Hurst, agree with Daniel Pick on Spotless. Think they showed someone complete pole vault the unseen stroke part episode of Can't Touch This. That's interesting because I haven't seen it. Someone mentioned in their comments that no one did it, so I assumed that was correct. But maybe it wasn't correct. That's fair enough.
Wasn't there like a sort of a clip show of the final episode? And I think as part of that, they might have shown someone doing it.
It's quite possible. I don't think anyone was watching it at that point, so
yeah,
no one's sure. British Kids TV says, I didn't think Getaway Car was that bad. It definitely did drag after seeing it a couple of times though. Yeah. Coriano Tardo, 500 questions is so bad. I'm glad it's not coming back to the USA. David Cooper, Wild Things does what the Getaway Car set out to do far more effectively, with more comedy, much more cheaply. Yeah, that's my understanding. Why it was Getaway Car's up for a Rose Door as well. But Wild Things won it last year for doing exactly the same thing, but much better. So there's no real way it was going to win this year. Yeah. So, do you have any ideas what's number 1?
I don't think I do I? I can't remember what I voted for, to be honest. Should I quickly look at what I voted for and see?
You can't pass this.
Oh, I get it now. Very clever. Are you referring to Pasalabra or whatever it's called?
I get the R and L mixed up all the time as well. But yes, number 1, the worst show, by a little way, not a massive amount, is Alphabetical. Jeff Stelling.
Okay.
Which I think, if it was done slightly differently, could have been on the other list. But it wasn't done slightly differently. It was done badly, and so it's on this list. And it feels like a cock-up more than anything else. The end game was very badly calibrated. It can be tough, but it can't be impossible. Amongst other things, I think the British public do not appreciate having to use words when they have perfectly good words to use instead. For example, pass. If you like questions, you get plenty of them. That's what it based itself on. That's what it prides itself on.
I can see why it's number 1. I'll begrudgingly admit it. Is it mainly because of the end game?
Mainly because of the end game, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of surprise here on Twitter, I'm noticing.
I quite liked Alphabetical. mainly because of the number of questions, but I did find it dragged on a little. Would have been better maybe 45 minutes.
We get out of a lot of shows, really.
Mm.
The show sort of started each episode of 120 seconds rather than 100, I reckon. Then it would have solved quite a lot of issues, or at least an issue of the end game. I mean, it's not really a show. I watched it. If I ever watched it past the first couple episodes, I'd skip to the end, basically. The end game is still quite fun when it works properly. That's the rest of it. I'm not really a quiz nerd, so.
Well, it's getting another series, so people better get used to it.
Is it? I know
yes,
Cash
it
Trapped
is.
has been recommissioned. Alphabetical was also recommissioned.
They're
With
both
Jeff
recommissioned.
Selling?
Yes, apparently so.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure they'll listen to the feedback at the very least. My favourite round was actually the round that was essentially sort of blockbusters. They would give 3 letters, like, or the first letters of multiple words as the answer. So the Great Wall of China would be GWOC or something like that. I quite enjoyed that round because I thought that was a nice, interesting take on alphabetical, but the rest of it was a little bit samey. I quite enjoyed it.
All right. Well, there we are. That is what we've decided. So now it's time to go to the viewer poll results. And if you just forgive me while I just do a couple of things, I can show you the results that we got in from the poll so far. So for the 32 people 33 people that responded, live updates. Was 2016 better or worse than 2015 for game shows? And people, I think, I'm surprised that over half of people said it's better. I think 2015 was not too bad, so quite interesting. It's obviously people are feeling the positivity from Brexit and Donald Trump. Which channel broadcast has made the game shows you enjoy most? And most people going with Dan's prediction of lots of love for BBC, well, just generally BBC, getting over 50% of the vote. ITV 20, and Dave polling very well, 18%. So will that bode some interesting results later, I wonder? So that's that. How do you primarily watch game shows? Still, lots of people watch live broadcast, but just as many watch on catch-up TV. So that's a big change from how things used to be. What's your ideal length of game show on the whole? And that's an interesting stat, isn't it? That the common thing that is around these days is you could argue is 60 minutes, and yet that is by far the least favourite of the other options. But people are not that bothered if it's 45 minutes rather than 30. So there we are. And now that Crystal Maze is coming, what show would like to remake next? So I will try and sort out the stats from that.
Basically anything.
I'll sort the stats out from that in when we get to the second part of the poll. To try and get the proper breakdown on that. Okay, so we'll go back to my graphic there, and now we're going to get into the Hall of Fame. So this is where we'll just talk about lovely, happy things, and these are the results from last year. And apart from Beat the Brain, Wither That, and well, I suppose 1,000 Heartbeats has sort of gone a bit AWOL. Despite lots of love for it, it didn't seem to.
I'm sure on Facebook, in official capacity, it says coming back for a third series, but it's gone very quiet since then. So
yes, I've heard third series. So.
Okay, well, maybe it's coming later this year. They've had a bit of a few things to clear out because they've had Rebound and Alphabetical and whatnot, and obviously Tipping Point and Chase are still doing good numbers. So
very good numbers. Yeah,
maybe they're going to have to wait a little bit for a slot. Okay, so that's what we had last year. So 10-6 for Hall of Fame.
Okay, so very quickly, Number 10, Time Commanders.
All right.
Number 9, Debatable. Number
Yep.
8, Insert Name Here. Number 7, The Question Jury. Number 6, Cash Trapped. Cash Trapped divisive. Evidently, it was number 7 in the Hall of Shame list as well. I quite liked it. Interesting if there's any changes to it this year, definitely.
Okay. So let's go on with number 5 then.
Number 5. What might be a surprise, I think, The Crystal Maze.
Wow.
The thing is, I couldn't feel like a vote for it. I liked it, but I wanted to wait for a series. I actually watched it around the mum's on Saturday. She hadn't seen it. She likes Stephen Merchant and Josh Goodman. She enjoyed it, and I liked it better than I thought I did first time round. So maybe it deserved a vote. I don't know. I think it was a good show for what it was, but you would not be able to do a series in that mold because it looked a bit cheap.
There was a fire alarm in the Aztec zone. Well, they did invent it, obviously.
That's true. I mean, it was the jokes are mainly laughing at the celebrities and the show, really. Rather, it has to be its own. You have to take it semi-seriously, I think, for it to be a big thing. But yeah, I liked it. 5th place.
It obviously did its job. It proved that people were still willing to watch The Crystal Maze, and they're now obviously going to make another series, which I'm very excited about. So hopefully, building a new studio in Bristol, aren't they? So hopefully they'll just jazz it up a little.
Okay, well, yep, we'll just have to see what they make of a full series. Okay, number 4.
Number 4, Robot Wars.
Wow.
I watched about 2 episodes and gave up, so I can't say I agree with this. But I'd suggest a very nerd-centric top 10. So I can understand it in a way. I feel as
What are you saying about our pollsters?
I'm saying they're nerds. And what are you going to do about it?
Completely agree.
I remember this series better than the old series because I think the old series there was quite a lot of battles where it was just sort of people running around and like if someone even as much touched a gash of a robot, it was a major incident. Whereas on this one, there seemed to be a lot more sparks and jumps and things flying around. So. I thought they did. I don't think it was quite the chemistry between the hosts and the participants was quite as good. But I thought it was a decent remake.
From what I remember of the Craig Charles era, it got quite repetitive after a few series. Did this manage to avoid that?
I can't tell you.
Well, in some ways, it was even more repetitive because you saw more of the same robots throughout the show. But they sort of managed to work out a compromise between having robots sustain damage and yet somehow manage to last through the whole episode and even come back later. So,
I just, the fact it took half hour to have the first preliminary fights just annoyed me quite a lot, I think. I couldn't get past that. I tried, but it's not for me. I got bored of the original series, so it's no real surprise I got bored of this one quite quickly as well. But that's fine. You lot liked it. And that's the important thing. It's coming back for another series. Did they watch any of the celebrity specials over Christmas?
No.
I'm very sorry.
They're very funny. Basically, most of the matches last about 15 seconds. It was not greatly impressive. Quite funny.
Well, you were the reason why I didn't watch it. So basically, if their ratings are rubbish and they've been cancelled, it's your fault.
I take full responsibility.
Has it been
Yes, because it's filmed. I think it's going out soonish. I think.
Okay.
Number 3, The Code.
Ooh.
Actually, I was nice. It's a joint second rather than a 3. I've written this wrong down. This is very exciting.
All right. Well, let's just put it down as. Let's talk about that first. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, well, I think a lot of people like this as a format. I think if you actually drill down into the numbers, it is actually quite a lot harder than it appears because quite a lot of the time you actually need about 8 or 9 guesses at the numbers in order to crack it. And also I would have liked it if there was a bit more logic in the way that you worked out the number rather than it just sort of a random pick a number from 0 to 9. But otherwise, I quite enjoyed the question mechanic.
Yeah, it was a fun take on a true or false quiz, I thought.
It had a surprising amount of depth, as in the rules were actually quite interestingly set, so that once you've got a number in the code, then it gets harder. And actually, someone worked out you actually don't want to get the first few numbers right, so that it makes it actually slightly easier for you, so that later in the game you have fewer numbers to pick from when it is harder. But that's something that maths people can notice. As a just general viewer, it's actually really, really simple to watch, and I just thought it was a really nice take on true or false, as you say.
If you're interested in the maths, by the way, there's a blog that Tom Flynn wrote called Shouting at the Audience, which goes into all of the stats and all the probabilities of it in very good detail. There's a link at the bar. I will post a link up at Bother's bar with the rest of the stats for today, so you can just click on it and go straight to it if you like. Just reading some of your comments. Hurrah, Crystal Maze. We watched it again. Yes, vote given. Cash Trap Reserve higher. Most certainly show of the year. BBC 4 managing to scrape their way into a top 10 yet again with Time Commanders. Yeah, interesting that. I enjoyed Crystal Maze a lot. It was really good for a one-off. Is Crystal Maze the highest rated single episode special was done in the Hall of Fame? I think it might be. Lisa Hounds and 15 to 1 managed it, but I'm going top 10 rather than top 5. I can't remember off the top of my head. BattleBots on US is more polished and Robot Wars. Robots all over the place. A lot of people saying they love Robot Wars, all saying they dislike it quite a lot as well. So fair enough. Alex Lynn, who's on fire. It's rated well despite its flaws. Number 4 in the polls is Robot Wars.
Yay!
That's good. Greg Charles there. Right. So number 2, also joint 2, is Tenable.
Okay.
Which I really liked.
I watched Tenable for quite a while actually, and I think I watched nearly every episode, and I quite enjoyed it. Having a bit of a different show on in the afternoon, it is going to rapidly slam into the problem of what happens when we run out of lists. But I don't care about that this year, because this year it's been quite good, and I thought there was a lot of it I liked in terms of the way the style worked, and they got the triangle motif to work nicely, and the sort of the thing about bringing contestants back was quite nice, because it's rather than people when they're out. That was quite a nice idea. And Warwick worked really well on it.
Warwick was really good in it. I thought he lifted the show quite a lot actually. My favourite thing about Triangle. Sorry, go on.
I saw someone say that they didn't like the terminology on the show, that an answer was tenable or untenable. I thought that was very natural and actually really helped the premise of the show. I also thought that one of the genius ideas was not having to get all 10 answers. Well, aside from in the end game, yes, but just as a general rule, like in Family Fortunes, you've got to get all the answers. In this, you didn't. And I think that was actually a really important and very clever thing.
My favourite thing about the triangular screen is when they had a really long answer right at the top, and they had to squeeze it into tiny writing just so you could put it on. But yeah, I had quite a lot of afternoons off towards the end of last year, using up leave, and it's always a bit of a treat to get to watch Tenable. I think the strategy is too obvious, but there was one person hilariously who went against the obvious strategy. He had 9 answers, lost his life, and thought, well, any other person would walk away at that point. But he decided to go for it, and he lost, and it was hilarious. It's the funniest thing I'd watched in ages.
I think there was a woman who did the same thing. She had the top 10
really?
chemical elements, and so obviously she was gambling £15,000 against 25.
10.
Yeah, and they'd already lost one life, but she thought it was, and she knew it, and she got it wrong. So I think she said oxygen instead of lithium or something. Anyway, yeah. So it was nice that some people gambled. It was nice that quite a lot of the time there were some quite strange overrules and people not bothering to overrule. Because like if you don't know an answer, you might as well say something so that your captain, if you think it knows an answer, can at least use the overrule up as a sort of one of your options to sort of get another answer on the board. Do you know what I mean? You might as well just say anything, and then they can overrule, and then they can chip in. I think one thing that I would possibly change is that it seems to be quite a lot of rules about who can say what when, in terms of like it's only the captain that can press the buzzer and then overrule. They can't chat amongst themselves, and in the final they have to be careful about not giving clues to the other members in the queue and things like that. So I do find it a little bit weird about how sometimes people do give clues away and sometimes they don't, and they're going to have to sort of tighten up on that a little bit. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I hope it comes back, and even if it only lasts 3 or 4 years, then that's it'll add to the variety of afternoon scheduling anyway. Right, I am still scratching my head about the number one.
Whilst you're thinking about it, I'll read some comments out. Ian Weaver, 15-1, Celebrity One-Off came third in 2013. Thank you, Ian. Tenable, good not top 5 material. Alex then secretly hoping Alphabetical tops the Hall of Fame as well. Smogo, Tenable Endgame seemed even more impossible than Alphabetical. It was actually won 5 times apparently. So
can you say that again, but with half the speed?
Yeah, but with sorry, you're absolutely right to point it out. Tenable Endgame seemed even more impossible than Alphabeticals.
Oh, I don't know.
I saw it one.
Yeah, I've seen it one. There's a difference between tough and impossible. And Tenable is tough, but it's one often enough that it's fair. It seems okay. I think 5 out of 20. I think it was one. It's much higher than I was expecting. When I first saw the format run down, I thought, well, no one's ever going to win that. And it turns out I was wrong. So fair enough, really.
It's because they get many guesses, isn't it? So
yeah. Greg Lowe, any quiz at the final question about chocolates and celebrations is a winner with me. A couple of people pointing it out, actually. The 10 chocolates and what celebrations question is one of the defining questions of 2016, I'm pretty sure.
Topic.
Yeah. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, so you've had time to think. What's number one? And I have to say, it's number one by a little distance, not a huge amount, but a distance.
Best show of the year.
Can't be Alphabetical, can it?
I'm going to have a look down the list of articles and see if I can pick it out. Time Commanders? No, can't be that.
I can't say Cash Trap because that was at number 6. You've got us.
I think you'll be surprised, but maybe not that surprised.
Go 8-bits, probably.
Yes, the winner is Go 8. It's Dara O'Brien's Go 8-bit. On Dave. The first time Dave comes second with Taskmaster last year, and this year they've won it.
Fantastic.
Go Dave.
Well, thank you.
I liked Go 8-bit. I didn't love it. I think it could need to work on its presentation in terms of several people playing at once. But it was quite funny. It was unusual to have a comedy panel show without questions in it. But it worked. It's fine, good.
I thought they put quite a lot of imagination and money into it, and it seemed to pay off. And well, it would have been nice if there was a bit more original casting, but all the casting that they got did very well. And It was, yeah. I mean, as you said, the actual game bits in themselves are actually a little bit boring, quite hard to follow. But such was the nature of Games Master as well. Really, frankly,
a lot of Games Master did one person and the other, so you got a full screen for most of the time. I'd suggest.
And they needed a lot of extra graphics laid over the top.
Oh yeah.
To make it even half comprehensible. So I think it's fair enough that they keep the games bits to relatively short anyway. So
what about the Marmite part of the show? Did you like or did you hate the rotating stage? I loved it, and every time the little theme music came on, I would be bopping up and down in my chair.
I didn't really mind it as much as some people did. I thought it was a nice effect. I think I was a bit more bothered about the fact that they just flashed at some random numbers that didn't mean anything while they were voting, and then suddenly they just put up the result. It's sort of, why not just have like a sort of slide bar that's going up and down as the votes come in? I didn't really understand that.
I do recommend, by the way, if Wi-Fi Wars comes to a theatre near you, go and do it, because it's really good fun. It's a lot of it explains the technology behind some of Gate a bit as well. I think it might have been either a Royal Institution Christmas lecture or something on BBC4 recently, or coming soon, which shows you an episode of Wi-Fi Wars being done. You can't play along at home; it's not live. So I don't know how entertaining it would be, but the technology behind it's quite interesting. Do go if it's in your area.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only suggestion I'd have for another series is reduce the games by one, because I think having 4 games in a 4-part show might seem to work slightly better rather than squeeze one in one of the parts. But I really liked the nice twists that they put on the end of games, essentially making it a much more physical thing. I thought that was just lots of fun. I've played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. People exploded.
Were you on the bomb, or were you doing the talking?
Oh, any game with me in, and it all goes horribly wrong.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, well, certainly Dave has hit a seam of form, and we're very interested to see what they come up with to extend their winning run. So well done to them. So let's move on. We have a second part of our viewers poll. So if you want to go to tinyurl.com BB poll 2016 part 2, there will be a few more questions for you to fill out about the nature of game shows. I'll just go back and fill in the question we missed out from the last one, which was, now that Crystal Maze is coming back finally, what show would you remake next? Quite a broad range. We had Gambit, Bob's Full House, Blockbusters, Duel. We've already remade Blockbusters. Duel, Incredible Games, The Mole, Play Your Cards Right. Well, that's already come back. Scavengers, The Adventure Game, Survivor, 3-2-1, The Price is Right. That's already come back a couple of times. Turnabout, Gambit again, Play Your Cards Right again, Duel again, Stars in the Rise but properly, 19 Keys. Can't see that 19 one. Keys. Can't see that one coming out. Duel, no, third vote for Duel. Supermarket Screep. Well, that's sort of good comeback. Winning Lines. 3-2-1. The Mole. Interceptor. Whittle or Fluke. The Whole 19 Yards. Yeah, I felt that was a show that got unnecessarily short shrift.
Yes, I agree.
Whole 19 Yards. It was in my opinion, Can't Touch This was just a less fun version of the Whole 19 Yards.
Yeah,
I think the important thing was it was getting decent ratings. It was too expensive for ratings. It was
too expensive.
Yeah, but to be fair, it was stuck out sort of in May or something, wasn't it? It wasn't sort of the peak of the season. It was sort of, if it was good weather, you'd be out rather than watching that. But anyway, that's how I remember it. Anyway, Fort Boyard, The Colour of Money. Interestingly, that one was always meant to be a daytime show, so maybe it could come back as that. Nightmare, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and The Krypton Factor. Well, that's already come back. So,
and whilst we did laugh at Colour of Money, I do still play the quiz machine. So it has something.
Stop!
Not a TV show, but it has something.
Okay, so
whilst the poll's going on, can I bring up a question that was asked on Twitter? thank you, Gary Scott, who's tweeted us on BB Poll. He's asked, what has been the biggest surprise of the year so far, based in the Hall of Shame and Hall of Fame? I've got one, and that's the Question Jury being at number 7 on Channel 4. I really like the Question Jury. I just want to give a quick shout out to that, really. I thought it was a really nice mix of essentially reality and questions, because you got to see how essentially you watch a quiz team bicker. That is essentially what you're doing. I just thought it was quite interesting.
I found that the way it was implemented a bit clunky with the Question Jury decides all business and the speed rounds and all that sort of thing. It's sort of, I can see why it was put in, but it's not really. I think you've either got to run with it in the proper way that a jury would do it, which I think is sort of, agonize about sort of 6 really hard questions, and that's your show. And then all the sort of reality stuff at the end I didn't really like, and because that's sort of not really jury sort of thing. And I think if you drill down into it, a lot of the questions were a bit dodgy in terms of the research when you talk about bests and firsts and worsts, and I think
had to be to get a debate.
Yeah, well, if you go back to Ian Weaver's column on this on UKGameshows, he did a very good analysis of some of the questions, and I think that could have been a bit better done. So
I think it's coming back for a second series, so we'll see if it changes.
Looking for players, so yes, it's coming back.
Although I have to be careful what I say, because I think now I think about it, about 3 years ago, I did actually verify some questions for that show. So if there is any dodgy questions, they weren't mine. It was probably it wasn't called that then, and also it was probably for a previous pilot. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. Okay, so
reversing.
Let's go into the Golden 5. So
Right.
These are the favourite shows of anything old or new that's been had at least one episode broadcast in the last 12 months, and these were the results last year. So it was pretty much business as usual, except for 1,000 Heartbeats, which was not surprising because it was the winner of that year's best new show of the year. So I'm going to put a marker down and say that I reckon Taskmaster might be in here for the first time. I wonder if maybe The Chase might go up one, because that's doing good ratings. I wonder if Only Connect might go down one, because I think I have just a feeling that maybe people feel it might be outstaying its welcome with it being 37 episodes a year. I mean, I'm talking out of turn here, but that's just my honest opinion on what might be happening. I do wonder to what extent Pointless repeats might be affecting its viewership, although Richard Osman does kindly advertise this poll, so I don't know to what extent that.
And we should point out he's got 500,000 Twitter followers.
Yeah,
so in theory.
So I don't expect that to go down, but I personally, Pointless has fallen out of my regular viewing schedule. And I rather watch Tenable each day rather than Pointless, because it just was maddening me too much. So that is the marker I've put down. Let's see how much of that is true.
Do you want 6? Do you want Bubbling Under or
yes,
just straight?
Yeah. Okay.
So Bubbling Under, top of the Golden 5. In joint 10th is 1,000 Heartbeats, which hashtag was legible when it was. It was 2 weeks in January of new episodes, so fair enough. Robot Wars and Tenable. In 9th, Who Dares Wins, which seems to come from nowhere. 8, University Challenge. 7, Countdown. 6, The Great British Bake Off.
Okay, so that's gone down one. So I wonder if Taskmaster has therefore taken one of those places. What was 7th?
Countdown.
Yeah, okay.
Countdown's been bubbling under every year since this has happened, I think. Something along those lines.
I'm glad it's still got a little bit of love for it, because Channel 4 haven't treated it very well.
No, I think that's fair to say. I mean, I do think, I do slightly wonder why it's been pinged around the schedules like it has. It must be something to do with the demographics, I imagine. But
But
to me,
equally, it must be so cheap to make. It's sort of a no-brainer.
well, I don't think it was cheap to make it at the point, when Rich and Carol were around. I think they've had to make it cheaper. So,
Do they still show it in Australia?
oh, that I don't know actually. But I do think that a bit of Channel 4 will die if whoever cancels that show. I do think that is, I think they have a bit of a debt of gratitude to it, and well, at least it's still going. But I do think
There would be a national outcry if they ever touched Countdown, wouldn't there?
yeah.
Would
But
there though?
I do think that is. I do think that is one of the shows that has suffered most on this stretch from going from 30 minutes to 60.
Yes.
It's just too long for me. I can't watch that long. So there we go. It's just anagrams for half an hour, an hour of anagrams. It's too
And
long.
sums.
Yeah, and a sop to a couple of multiplication sums. Yeah, but largely anagrams. Okie dokie. All right, let's go into it then. Number 5.
Number 5 is Hall of Shame 2012 runner-up Tipping Point.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of people saying how much fun it is now, just 5 years after it first started.
Yeah,
You've always said it though, Nick, so we should always
That's
listen
true.
to you.
yeah. I never understood the hatred for it when it came out. I really didn't. It was a fine show. It was all right. I thought it could be a bit more colourful. That was the only thing I honestly thought in terms of. I found the counters, the silver and black counters, a bit drab, but that was my only thing I didn't like about it. I thought the rest of it was good. So
I've quite enjoyed the celebrity innovation they have, where they have the answers inside the question most of the time. They still get them wrong, which is impressive stuff. Don't watch it for university challenge side questions, but it does. Like how Ben Shepherd manages to keep a straight face whilst something like that happens, I've got no idea.
He's actually a very funny guy. I
can well believe.
When I went to see an episode recorded, unfortunately, when you sort of sit there and he does a bit of a cheeky quip about something, you sort of go, that bit's going to hit the edit sweet floor because there just isn't time to leave it in. But actually, he's actually quite a funny guy. So it's it'd be nice if they could find a bit more time for him. But it's just a bit of a packed format, isn't it? It's just one of these things. Anyway, okay. Well, that's a good start. What's next?
At number, I have to say, there's now a really large gap between Tipping Point and the rest of the top 4.
Okay.
At number 4 is Taskmaster.
Yeah, thought so.
And halfway through voting, this is winning, and I thought, oh, maybe it'll do it, but no, unfortunately not.
Okay. I came to Taskmaster very late. I don't know why, but I just saw sort of the first 10 minutes of one episode and I thought, I'm not really enjoying this. But then I thought, well, I really ought to catch up with it. So I sort of box setted it on, I actually watched series 2 first and then went back to watch series 1. Yeah. And I rather liked series 2 better because I thought that Tim Key's influence was a bit more in evidence in the tasks, him being a series 1 partaker and him being a sort of one of these people that looks for the sort of ways of bending the rules. And I thought that the tasks were a bit more clever in that regard. I did wonder if the last series was sort of slightly running out of steam because it's sort of the rules seem to be you either get a taxi, ask Alex to do it for you, use your phone. I mean, the number of solutions seems to slightly being repeated, but nevertheless, I do enjoy it for what it is.
Well, there are 16 episodes to come next year, so hopefully we don't run out of tasks anytime soon.
No.
I thought it was 20. I thought it was
2 times 8. It was 2 times 8.
Okay.
Yeah, which is it is still longer. I think it was 6 and 7 episodes of the other series. So
I think there are 5 actually. Right. And then number 3. Tension. For Chase.
Ooh. So that stays where it was.
Yes.
Great. Okay, well, it's been doing good ratings. I think the last week has been, on average, sort of consolidated ratings, its highest ever. It hasn't had its peak ever audience. I think there's 2 episodes that have been higher, from what I remember. But it has been certainly a good period for it. So we'll see if that continues. But it ain't going anywhere, despite ITV trying many formats to replace it. It's been doing good numbers. I wonder when they're going to have their 1,000th episode. Actually,
Someone says
can't
it's
be
already
wrong.
happened. I don't know. The thing is, and I was doing the writing up a report which will go out after this broadcast. I started looking up clips of a chase, then I was watching half-hour of file chases because I was getting into it that much. So that's how good it is. You just pick it up from anywhere, and I still enjoy it. At number 2, Only Connect.
I was hoping it would be number 1. If only because I've been a question writer on that show.
Well, and that means at number 1, is it pointless? So it could be any other show.
I'm going to type it in now.
Well, David,
Yes.
you're right. It's pointless,
Yeah.
but I have to say, not by much. You might have 500,000 Twitter followers, but only about 6 bothered to turn up. So,
Right.
So there you go.
And how much difference was there between the top 2? Was there less than 6 or more?
3 votes. Yes, there's 3 votes to the top 2.
Really? 3 votes only? Wow.
So, yes. I mean, it's not much. It's 8 votes between Pointless and the Chase. They could have, if the Chasers pushed their audience a bit more, who knows? But yeah, Pointless. I still watch it. I still enjoy it. I liked 1,000th episode. That was fun. That was this year, though, so it won't count. The thing is, it's been up top for so long. I don't really know what else to say about it. Is really, it's good. Well done.
This is it's almost as close as, was it 2014 when it was 1 vote between the top 2, and I gave it that 1 vote.
You gave it that vote.
Yes.
How silly did you feel?
Yeah. So it's practically equal, really, between the 2. That's the way.
But not is the important thing.
Yeah.
Not statistically significant.
So well done, Pointless. Not to generate it, just say it's always up top now. It's boring. So, but who knows next? Who knows next year? I mean, Taskmaster's coming off from nowhere. It was 9th last year, as it turned out. Incidentally, Go 8-Bit, which topped the Hall of Fame, actually AIMA's joint 20th from the Golden 5. So, how interesting is that?
That is quite strange. Normally, the winner of that does appear sort of 4th, 5th, something 7th, something like that in this poll. So, but I must admit, I did vote for Go 8-Bit, but I still voted for. I voted for Pointless, Only Connect, Taskmaster, and I think Tenable. Tenable, I think I did vote for. So, all right, there we are. So who does that mean that the Prime Minister of the UK is for this year? Well, of course, it's Richard Osman again. Hang on. I've heard that due to a Supreme Court ruling that's been overruled, it is now actually Pat Sharp. So there we go. Well, that's just the year of shocks is continuing. So let's go back to the results of the current poll. I can't really display these on the screen very easily, so I'll just read them out. If you can only watch one game show past to present, what would it be? There's a few things here. Mainly Only Connect, Fort Boyard, Pointless, Robot Wars, Blockbusters, Crystal Maze, The Chase, The Mole.
So-
Somebody who says that they want to watch Lingo for the rest of their days. Interesting choice.
Martin Daniels, yeah.
Games World with Bob Mills.
That was a good choice. I used to like that.
And Every Second Counts.
I used to like that as well.
Which
no
format
one's
from?
suggesting-
So go on.
Sorry, and no one's suggesting Nick's episode of The Weakest Link. That for eternity.
Which format from abroad would you like to see in the UK in 2017? What on earth is this? Rischiatuto?
Rischiatuto. It's Italian Jeopardy. Risk it all, it means.
Yeah, I've found a way of watching American Jeopardy on my TV, and I do wish that there was a way of getting a Jeopardy on UK again, done properly. You know, like it's a real real rapid speed. I mean, you'd have to work out a way of filling it in 5 more minutes of game time. But I hope there would be a way of doing it. The Wall. I watched an episode of that today. I rather enjoyed it actually.
I thought it was okay. But you have to take in the spirit that it's a big entertainment show rather than a great game show.
Yeah, no, I quite enjoyed it. The Genius, well, yes, there's lots of people wanting that. It's about 5 votes for that. Another vote for Jeopardy. A lot of votes for The Mole, Elevator, Cutthroat Kitchen. Yeah, that's another one that we've sort of tipped before, and that hasn't quite got punched through yet. The French version of Slam, which is a crosswits kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Vault. Yeah. Oh, but I see. But with more interactivity, yeah, I suppose that could. Race to Escape, yeah, and really would like to see that done again.
There's meant to be a new escape room show on YouTube from the Geek and Sundry people. That was advertised a while ago. It's not. I don't know where it's.
I think it's due to come up in February. So let's.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's not out just yet, but it was trailed certainly.
Hmm.
Which celebrity should try their hand next at presenting a game show? Dr. Mary Beard. Really? She hates Only Connect, so I don't think she's going to try.
I have met Dr. Mary Beard in my line of work.
Yeah.
That's my claim to fame.
Well, next time you see a puncher from me. Miranda Hart. Yeah, I suppose, well, she was rumored to do Generation Game, and that never happened. Scott Mills.
Yeah, he would be quite good, actually.
Is Corey Anatado a celebrity yet? Only a matter of time. Quite a few people tipping Paul Sinha. I think that's quite a good.
I think that's good.
Keith Lemon. I think you need to turn your TV to ITV2 occasionally because he's never not on that.
He's done a People show in terms of Lemonade anyway, and that didn't really go down very well. So I like Through the Keyhole, but it's with him members of the public, I'm not sure.
Aisling B. Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbett.
Format: we choose a random year between 1900 and 1960 and a selection of items from the average shopping basket and note their prices. Then Jeremy Corbyn spends an hour telling us how better life would be if Trotsky was in charge. Yeah. I'm sure the channel commissioners are listening to that. Dan Walker, hasn't he done that quiz?
No, he don't think so. He was on Debatable as a guest a couple of times.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done a quiz. Don't think.
Sam Nixon, he's definitely done stuff, hasn't he?
Oh, as part of Sam and Mark. Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Joe Lycett, well, he's been a sidekick of on.
He's on a big spell.
I think he's due to his sort of star is rising a bit back.
Yeah, he's on next as a Taskmaster actually.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Darren Brown. Okay, well, let's move on. Name a game show that we'll be watching in 2020. Cockroaches win prizes. Dan Peak's Price is Right. Yeah, that's what happened.
Hey.
The Hunger Games. Yeah, well, that could well happen. Pointless, which will never be cancelled. There's a lot of people who had that joke. Crystal Maze Series 14, Celebrity Champions of Champions. Only Connect Series 18. Goodness me, that makes me feel ill. Dara O'Brien's Go 4K. Yeah, very witty. Live celebrity kickboxing. I imagine that will probably happen.
Yeah.
Melon Sue's Hunt the Cake.
Oh, I'd watch that.
And-
I'd watch that.
And someone said the quiz broadcast, which is a David Mitchell gag.
Yeah.
And finally, we do have a little extra reward to hand out for the Hidden Gem, which is sort of like the show outside of the sort of main, big contenders. And I will quickly show you the results for that. And by an absolute mile, it's top class.
That got a lot of people commented that was a really good show in their votes actually.
So that's the BBC Schools quiz presented by a Scottish comedian whose name
Susan Carman.
Susan Carman, that's right, yes.
Yeah.
I like Susan Carman.
And Wheel of Sitcom was second, which I wouldn't have had in my radar.
That got votes actually. It got a vote. It got 4 votes to all shame. Yeah. Well, there you go.
So that's it. So that is us.
Let's read some last minute comments before we all go home.
Mm-hmm.
Acts of Millen. I can only hope 2017 sees the return of Paul Ross to prime time. Well,
he did very well on University Challenge at Christmas, so that may well happen.
Yeah. Very intelligent man. Matt Clemson, did anything else on this year appear above Go 8-Bit and the Golden Fiver? The answer is, yeah, quite a lot did actually. Cash Trap did, Time Commanders did, Crystal Maze did, The Code did, Tenable and Robot Wars. So basically, even though Go 8-Bit won the best new show, no one actually wants to vote for it in the Golden Five. It's interesting.
Well, I suppose it was quite a short series, and it didn't have, it's not part of your routine like some of the other shows are.
No. I find it funny how both Pointless and Only Connect have started to cultivate in-jokes when any other quiz shows around. Yes. Gwillem James, next year I'm starting a Rage Against the Machine style campaign to get Bargain Hunt ahead of Pointless. Several people pointing out that the episode All 5 Chasers playing was a 1,000th episode. Yes, you're absolutely right. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of stuff like Taskmaster. Taskmaster, the only show discussed Fuzzfight that my wife will watch with me on the regular. That's telling. Ian Weaver reckons Countdown works really was breakfast telly on Channel 4+1. Gary Scott, I was on tipping point, but the team look after you so well, and Ben Shippard said bollocks. I knew we'd cut that out, but still. So there you go. That seems like a good comment to end on, I think.
Yeah. There we are. Sweary Ben Shepherd. Well, there we go. So that's it for this year. And you had about 50 people watching, so that's nice of you
nice.
to tune in. For the full write-up, there's lots of comments and opinions that people add in. So give us half an hour or so to get that up onto the UKGameshows.com website itself. And Nick on his bothersbar.co.uk site has sort of all this extra statistics and bits and pieces. So tune in to that for that stuff, and we will be back certainly next month for a live stream of Schlagged and Star.
Yep.
So if you want to watch some English people trying to understand German game shows in a foreign language, then do join us for that as well. That's it. So it's been an interesting poll. Not that many surprises, but yet sort of certainly an evolution of certain things happening.
I think it's been a year of quite good shows, but not much. I would say it's good shows, but not enough Killer Instinct, I don't think.
Well, like I say, I do think that there is quite a lot of new people in ITV and BBC that are sort of aware of the weaknesses in their schedule and are looking to do things that are a little bit more attention grabbing and a bit more exciting. So let's see. It might take a year or two for the fruits of the labour to hit the screens, but certainly there is an appetite for new stuff to happen rather than another episode, another series of Celebrity Mr. and Mrs. So let's see what happens as a result of that. And also, I think good news for digital channels that people like Dave can punch through, and it would be interesting to see if any other digital channels or Sky One can maybe raise their game next year as well.
Well, Netflix has Ultimate Beastmaster coming next year, doesn't it? So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything non-linear viewing will help.
Yeah, sort of like Amazon, YouTube, Netflix. That's certainly adding to the. I mean, I have to say, an hour of my viewing each week now has gone on to Amazon because of Top Gear. I mean the Grand Tour.
Yeah.
So good to see if that trend continues. Well, thanks so much everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoy your viewing year, and that you'll join us again next year, and keep in touch with us on Twitter and on the websites and so. From Dan,
Goodbye.
it's goodbye. From Nick,
Bye-bye.
right, and thanks so much for all the hard work you put in collating all the informations.
That's all right.
And from me, David Bodycombe, it's goodbye. Goodbye.